Welcome to another exciting edition of Afrinity Connect. I want to thank you all sincerely, wherever you're watching or listening to us from across the globe. Today is the 14th day of July 2020. We are honored and privileged to have with us live all the way from Banjul, the Gambia, the Secretary General of the Nigerian community. As you could recall that we'll be discussing about issues right there in Banjul of Nigerian community, and we promise to, interview all sides, listen to all sides, and hear what's going on. Because at the end of the day, we want the best, and we want that old time, the glory, where people used to have fun and everything. Once again, I'm having the singular honor, privilege to welcome great so, Afrinity Connect. How you doing, my brother? How's Banjo this afternoon?
Wow, thank you very much, Mr. Adams, one of the best of our own. Appreciate you. Banjo is fine. We're in the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. We are all smiling, despite the world saga, COVID-19. Banjo is fine. So how is UK, Mr. Adams?
UK is good. COVID has really changed the way the world is right now. The world, it will never be the same. We had a statement from the World Health Organization saying we will not be able to get out of this in the nearest future. So what that means, COVID has come to stay. So tell us about what's happening there.
Well, thank you very much. Just like you observed, the world is experiencing a new order, as we can see all over. The emergence of COVID-19 has changed the status quo, including how we perceive things and how we live. I think the best to do is for government and respective stakeholders to have the understanding that it has come to stay with us like every other diseases or sickness or epidemic that has come to stay. So we better accept it and move on as normal. Otherwise, it will become more pandemic than it is. So we expect that the world move on with what it has come to grapple with. For the Gambia, we're still experiencing a lockdown, and everything is going fine, and we expect the best in the incoming days. That's what we can have now. Africa is not the same as Europe. Our system is quite, unfortunate, but we have no option. This is our place, and we must accept the realities that confront us.
We must accept the realities that confront us. That is the way forward. They say if you can't beat them, you join them.
You join
They
them.
said they also said, they also said it's an incurable, incurable disease is an endurable one. So hopefully, yes, hopefully we will definitely, find a way out of this whole, pandemic and everything. So how is the community? Can you give us up to date about the community, please?
Well, the community belongs to all of us. The community is fine, and the community is everybody. And whatever happened to the country or happened to everybody happens to the community. But I can tell you that the community is fine. The community is fine. Everything is okay, and everybody is observing the government regulations as regards to COVID-19. So the community is calm, and we are doing excellently well. That's what I can tell you about the community.
Thank you very much. This community is fine. There are two sides of a coin, and I know, from your side everything is fine, but we've got very strong allegations, very strong. Yeah, they are all allegations. Do you know one Eda Toby? Do you know John Ebuka?
Toby Adele. We have
Adele. And then we have the chairman of the committee. Yes, Onyema Igwe. Yes.
That's right.
A household name in the Gambia. He is well known within the community. Do you know anything about these people? Let's start from there.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Adams. Let me first use this opportunity to send my warm regards to every members of the Nigerian community. And it is a pleasure to be on this platform. Of course, they are Nigerians, and at one point in time, they have also functioned in the community in that regard. So, of course, I know them. I know them. I know this individual.
Yes. So the allegation is there was a committee that these people were set up a committee to the Nigerian community to look into NIs. So, and the report was submitted. Are you aware of that report?
All right. Yes. First, I would like to use this platform to have myself introduced, if you permit me to do so.
Please go ahead. Tell us about everything. And that's why I asked about the community. Tell us about yourself, about the community, about everything. Please do.
That's right. Thank you very much. My name is Great Akah Ottuduoma, and Great is an author, a co-founder of Calabar Institute of Administration. He is the convener and founder of Nigeria Intellectual Diaspora, NID. And as a matter of fact, I've been in the community for some time, closely to a decade. I've served at one point as Assistant Secretary General to Nigerian Community, and also served as Secretary and also serving as Secretary. It's my pleasure to be on this platform. I've served the community in the capacity of Secretary for 2 to 3 consecutive times, and it happens to be that I am the first person that I've served in that capacity, and that makes me a working library of the community, Nigerian community. So it gives me the opportunity to have potential information about the happenings, the operations, and everything that has to do with Nigerian community. So this is all about Great. So as far as I'm concerned, the community is fine. Now, going to the questions that you asked, talking about the committee that was set up at the time. Are you with me?
I'm listening to you loud and clear, my brother.
Good. In response to your question about the committee that was set up at the time involving Onyema Igwe as the chairman, Toby as secretary, and John Ebuka as a member of that committee. Yes, I'm aware of that committee. You understand? But the point I want to make is that I would like to mention, to go straight into the issues that was raised by one Mr. Toby Adenle. I've actually come out, the community in a sense did not actually want to give it a prominence. But
okay, sorry, please. The reason, before you go straight to that, I'm sorry for for coming in. I just wanted to find out, do you know them? At some point, did the community appoint them to do like a job for the Nigerian community in the Gambia? That's what I wanted to find out.
Yes.
Okay, they were assigned to do official job.
Of course.
Okay, at the NIS, Nigerian International School. Okay, please go ahead.
All right. Yes, like I was saying, the committee was actually set up under a particular platform because there was issue that called for that. In the first place, I want to make some categorical statement here that Nigerian community is a community that has been very peaceful. In as much as we intend to digitalize the community, we expect that certain persons should understand certain that should be said on the platform. The issue is nothing but it has to do with Mr. Toby Adele's, interview on this very platform. Honestly, it shocks the entire community that the Toby of all people will come up and begin to speak on the social media about a committee that was set up. To me and to the community entirely, it looks as it's likened to his action. It's likened to someone who has defecated on the path, and the neighborhood are saying, "Oh, let's protect him, let's cover him," and the individual has to jump on the street, showing himself publicly. So it certainly means that something is wrong with such individual. If there's anybody who will come on the platform to speak on the issues that Toby has raised, it shouldn't be him. Do you understand? It shouldn't be him at all. Yeah, while I go into the issues that actually happened, we have track records.
Sorry, who was supposed to speak? Sorry. You said it shouldn't be him. Who was supposed to speak?
it shouldn't be him because he never got the concept of the community to speak in the first place. There are due process as far as Nigerian community is concerned, which I'm going to highlight on some of these due process for us to know. But the point I want to make here is that Toby does not have that credibility or the integrity to come on such a platform and begin to talk about Nigerian community and mentioning some names of individuals where the community is, is loaded with a lot of information about his, that he will have to come on a platform and talk of some persons on issues that concern. We have records of his activities in ITS with Pastor Ford. We have records of his activities at Calabar Police Station. We have records of his activities at Serapita Police Station. We have records of his activities when he was shortly assigned head APC in this country here. About hundreds and thousands of Nigerians gave money, and this money cannot be accounted for. We have available records of Toby's atrocities in trying to forge a signatory to access the money that belonged to APC. He was, elected. No, he wasn't elected as Yoruba chairman. He was just appointed because there was an issue to head an interim government. And why was he not re-elected? Why was he not given the platform to be re-elected again? Because of character. So Toby doesn't have the integrity, the credibility, and what the wherewithal to come on platform and talk about people. That's exactly what I want to clear before I go into the main issue. Now, talking about the community, talking about the committee, very sound. The committee were actually set up, but I want to clear some facts here.
No, sorry. Before you continue, I want to really clear something. This interview was mainly for you to, answer to the questions. His personal life, or just like your personal life, who you are, what you have done, apart from the community, the scope of this interview, we're definitely not interested because that's who you are. But that's why I made it clear from beginning to say, do you know these people? Were these people given the responsibility to do this work? And you said yes. So if it's possible, let's limit it to the response of what he has said based on his probably privilege to have given the assignment, because I knew Onyema was the chairman and he was consulted, and I think he was given the approval from the leadership of the committee to speak as the Secretary General. Like you earlier recall that it was Obukada that was supposed to talk, and at the end of the day, he is speaking on behalf of not just himself, on behalf of the committee. So I have to make that clear. So let's limit this scope of, because if you want to dig into his private life, that will take us to another, we'll be digressing. So that one is left for him. But let's talk about the community. Let's talk about the response to the strong and very serious allegation that is having against the community, are finding from the NIS during the investigation.
All right, thank you very much, Adam, for that observation. It's very clear. Yes, going into the main issue, I just trying to clear some air on that. Yes, in the first place, the community is an institution under which every other person belongs. And there shouldn't be any reason for certain persons to delegate certain authority without consulting the leadership of Nigerian community in the first place. Now, you talk about setting up the committee, like you said, yes. Let me ask you this question. If you set up a committee, does that committee supersede the body that set it up? The answer is no. If you set up a committee, the committee is under the body that set it up. The committee is not an independent body of the body that put it in place. So in the first place, if there should be any name, it should be the leadership of the community, even abreast of what happened, not the committee represented by anybody. Now, that is one aspect of it. On the issue raised by Mr. Toby Adenle in regards to the committee was set up to actually look at some issues that were emanating from NIS. And as a matter of fact, it is like when you are sick, you ask somebody, oh, I am sick, what do I need to take? And somebody suggests, oh, take Panadol or take paracetamol. It is not incumbent on you to take that Panadol or paracetamol. It is a suggestion. It is mere, recommendations. So it is surprising to the community that this individual decide to arrogate power to themselves and start acting as the community itself, whereas it's a committee. The Nigerian Committee Constitution is very clear on positions of committee. So the committee doesn't have power to force its recommendations on the community. That is the first thing. On the allegation and some of the issues raised, the committee itself does not have the power to indict anybody or make recommendations for removal of an elected official in Nigerian community. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm getting it clearly.
When the committee is set up, the committee only. Yeah. So when the committee is set up, what the committee does is to bring recommendation, and such recommendation is subject to verification.
I thought you said it doesn't have the,
still, examine.
Sorry, I thought you said it doesn't have power to make recommendation. And you just said it doesn't have power to make recommendation.
No, power to indict.
Okay. Okay.
Power to indict. Power to indict. It recommends, but it don't have power of indictment. It's not a court. The committee is not a court. It's only the court that is competent to indict an individual. So all the committee does is to, develop their findings substantially, dwelling on existence material, not on sentiments. But unfortunately, the committee derived from the path of justice, derived from the path of fairness. They were being, emerged with issues of sentiment, emotional issues, and personal issues, and they turned the whole thing to political vendetta. And that's how the committee fails. So the point is that he has raised some 3 issues that I want to clear. One, in his claim, Toby claimed that the NIS saga involves some person's personality opening an account with NIS and use their passport to open an account and share certain money. That is too heavy an allegation. It shows that the committee did not even do their findings. It shows that the committee lacked the competent knowledge of the operations of NIS under which was given to them to investigate. There was nothing like opening an account. The only account that NIS has been the one opened by Nancy. But what happened is that each succeeding administration,
yes,
is to the account or the bank account of the community of the NIS. And that's what is done.
Excuse me.
So please, there was nothing like opening an account.
Can I come in? Can I just quickly come in? You're talking about opening an account. I personally interviewed him. I think the issue was that the NIS, the school, some people in the school has gone to student union, whatever, teachers union, and collected a loan. That's where the documentation comes in. It's not, I think it's not opening of account. It's about them going to open, collecting the loan on behalf of the institution, and the money was not used for the for the school. I think it's something like that, if I will get him right.
All right. I listened to the interview conductor here. He mentioned that they went to GTTU to open an account. And it is that account that they took the loan. That's what I'm trying to clear. That it was a kind of not knowing exactly what he was talking about.
Okay, but now, was that money collected on behalf of the school?
Is a partner. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. Hello? I'm coming to that.
Okay.
GTTU is in partnership with NIS, like every other schools in the Gambia. And this partnership has been there for a long time, during the time of Mrs. Nancy Umo. So the account with GTTU is also as good as permanent accounts. But what happened is that each time the school lacks funds to execute certain policies, carry out certain responsibilities, including payment of staff salaries, it approaches the bank, GTCU. You get me clear?
Okay.
Are you getting me? It approaches GTCU. You understand that? Good. Now, how does it do it? The school does that in collaboration with existing board and the school principal. It is not the entire community. Now, we have two strong instruments that are used to officiate or run the operations of Nigerian community: the NIS policy documents and Nigerian Community Constitution. Now, by virtue of these two documents, these are the persons that could, on behalf of the community, transact any business that has to do with NIS. One, the secretary or the president. These two are automatic members of the governing council of NIS. Now, these two individuals represent the community at the NIS governing council. And every decision taken at that level, it is either the secretary or the president that relates that decision to the community at large. And by so doing, both parties, I mean the president and the secretary, has the power to work in collaboration with the head of school to look at financial situation of the school and report to the community. It was on the basis of this that the head of school approached the community at the resumption that the school has no fund. And a list was brought to the community. I mean, a list of items needed was brought by the principal to the community. Are you getting my point now? And
okay,
in sourcing the loan, the community tabled the list. This is one of the instruments, the process, tabled the list before the authority. And that's how the loan process started. And the loan was actually meant for a particular assignment, not meant to be shared. And it has never been shared, and it was never shared. You understand me?
no, you said it was never shared. That's where you stopped. Sorry, you said it was never shared. That's where you stopped.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Okay, so
yes, it wasn't. It wasn't shared. There was nobody sharing any money.
Can I take you back, please? I want us to quickly go back.
All right.
I want us to quickly go back. From beginning, you were saying that they don't have the rights. They don't have, based on the record, they only have right to recommend. They don't have right to indict and all that. But some of their pain
or forfeit.
Yes, but some of their concern is that when was this report submitted? What has the community done regarding this report? Because according to him, he said the embassy was copied. What has the community done towards this report?
All right, thank you very much. Let me tell you something. While the process was going on, while they were mandated to investigate what actually transpired in NIS, the community was watching their activities. But along the line, it was uncovered that those who were actually supposed to investigate individuals, to investigate the committee and come up with a concrete evidence and report, were not doing that. They were basically concerned about their own selfish interests, to a point that a document that was given to the committee for investigation, Toby in particular took the document and gave it to an alleged person, I mean Nnamdi Nwamu, to take a fellow alleged person to court. That is one. Two, while the investigation was going on, Toby personally invited somebody, an accused person, and tried to work with the person, promising the person what he could not offer, that, oh, all you need is tell us this. By the time you tell us this is what we're going to do. The person also, Jonathan, a petition on, are you getting my point now? He wrote a petition against Toby in person, which is the secretary of the committee. Along the line, it was also discovered that the very committee that was set up to look at issues with the time were also lobbying to become board member at the governing council of NIS. So the whole process was a kind of, personal interest altogether, rather than, dwelling on the substance, the report or the investigation or the issue itself. So because of that, they could not arrive at, concrete evidence or what actually transpired. So by the time they brought their report, it was a preconceived report. Are you getting my point now? Now, The only issue with the community is that when the community received the reports, before the committee received the reports, they were already threatened by this individual that everything in the report will be implemented. Everything in the report will be implemented. And they have some persons who they have gang all together that are working. So the report was seen as a kind of conspiracy against the leadership of the community. Are you getting my point? And given what transpired, I told you, how would you feel that an investigator is giving instrument of investigation to an alleged person? How would you feel as a chairman or as a secretary to a committee, confidential information that was given to you, you gave it out to somebody else? How would you feel that somebody who is in the capacity to investigate individual is going as far as colliding with the alleged persons for something that he wants from them? Thirdly, the report had not even got to the community. The later community that sent it to them. They sent it to the embassy. Let me tell you something. The embassy and Nigerian community are two different entities altogether. The High Commission did not set up the committee. Under normal process, the committee should have sent a copy of the reports to the executive that set it up or the body that set it up before sending it out. I want to tell you that before the committee received the report, they have sent it to the police, they have sent it to the High Commission, they have sent it to individual opposition parties in the community. That tells you that the entire report was premeditated. It was preconceived, and the leader of the community sees it as what? Conspiracy against certain individuals in the community, given the information that was later revealed. Let me point it very clear that in one of our meetings, one of the persons who was part of the whole process came out to tell the community openly that, look, I must be honest with you, Toby in particular has been canvassing for the removal of certain persons from the community, and he actually wants to head NIS, the board of NIS, and he has asked him some questions on what he not to do so that he can support him. Then the report will be endorsed. Great must go, this must go, and all of that. So the report lacked what we call integrity. The report lacked, substance. The report did not dwell on evidential material that was tendered. Rather, emotions over, taking the process of the report. So the leadership of the community sees it as conspiracy. It sees it as fallacies that have been cooked for certain persons who sit down there and start manipulating the leadership of the Nigerian community. That's exactly what they do. Be that as it may, there were some issues raised in the report which were concrete. Are you getting my point now? One. The community had decided that the head of school has overstayed his welcome even before the report. And that was the reason that certain things started coming up. So they recommended, in line with the general belief of the community, that the head of school should go. And the community did not hesitate about that because it was, in fact, it's clear that it's time for Kingsley to go. So nobody objected. But other recommendations that they brought were personally doctored, were personally cooked. These are materials that were assembled for personal interest. But the community cannot dwell on personal interest. The community cannot come out to implement something to appease one person who sits down somewhere and want to take decision for Nigerian community. Not at all.
Okay, so that means...
are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me? So that means the report at the end of the day was put aside.
What happened to the report now? Let me use this platform to inform Nigerians that let me use this platform to inform larger Nigerians that in an executive meeting last week, having studied the report and the activities therein, the executive of the community voted to null and void the report, considering the report as a substance that has been generated from personal sentiment rather than representing the interest of the community. So because of that, the entire executive voted and all the entire report altogether, believing that it doesn't fit in to be used as substance to represent the community. Rather, it was a personal arrangement or conspiracy against the letter of the community to edge certain persons who they consider as their political opponent out of the community. So the executive has taken decision already on that report, and as we do it right now, the report has been null and voided. There's nobody that's going to implement the content of the report apart from what has been done already And every other charges, every other person, that was alleged in that report, all information and content of that report therein is considered as null and void. There's nobody that has been indicted. There's nobody that has been alleged. As far as that report is concerned, it is no longer relevant. The community is no longer talking. The community will invite the individual so concerned to come and explain to the community why they have actually conspired against the leadership of the Nigerian community, given the revelation that came out in that meeting, where some participants came to the community to inform that they were actually, induced, they were actually, lobbied into bringing certain information that were not even there in the first place, just because they want to satisfy, certain persons who are living there. So the report is as good as being thrown to the dustbin.
That is a good one from your side, but I'm sure the other side will not see it as a very good one, because I'm sure they must have gone through so many.
No, let me tell you something.
No, I want to say something. Part of the allegation. I have to let you this. There's something I want to let you know. Part of the allegation was that you personally has been telling them that, okay, when this report come, we will trash it. We will not. Nothing will happen to the report. We will not use it. So it's more or less that you are just confirming that right now to say, on behalf of the community, that the report is so. I don't know. And then another thing I wanted to respond to that before I ask the last question, because I know
let me respond to that. Let me respond to this. Mr. Adams, I want to appreciate your smartness. This you have told me now wasn't part of the interview. But then let me tell you something. When you
that's what they say. Before I interviewed them, they were having grudges. They were having angry. Were angry
about an individual. When you have a common understanding, a generalization, that this is why were they actually angry with Grace? You understand that by the end of this administration, I would have served almost 10 years in the community. And I have served in the capacity that no member of Nigerian community has served. My long in the community and criticism. And I also want you to understand that it has also given me the opportunity to have potential information about the operations and the workings and the individuals in Nigerian community. All of that were personal sentiments, personal feelings towards Grace for reasons that they've not been able to edge me out of the community for some time. Toby in person had a candidate who came out to contest against me. And you will understand with me that he has been my political rival, and there's no way he will say something good about Grace. But I have accepted that in good faith, believing that it is part and parcel of politics. But the point is that there was nothing like that. That was the sentiment. And I would have expected that having had that, it should have given them the opportunity to go into findings, to make sure that they come out with substantial, logical presentation that nobody will be able to actually throw into the dustbin. Rather, they were, carried away by that shared sentiment of Great said, Great did not say, and all of that. It is all about kangaroo arrangement. Even before the committee was set up, it was reviewed in our last meeting. A member of the panel who set up that committee, the agenda was, let me tell you now, the main agenda of setting up that fact-finding committee was to remove Great, or the doctor himself. That is, I'm talking about Dr. Sam Chima Ottuduoma, the president. That was the agenda. It was reviewed openly in an executive meeting. Are you getting my point? In the executive meeting, between myself and the entire executive meeting, those who participated in the whole process came out openly to tell the community that, look, it was all about Great must go. Then we have no reason for Great must go because the board which we were heading was dissolved. So we have no other option. We want to fight Great. Great, you are becoming too strong. You are becoming too, powerful in the community. Great must go. That was the reason for that. So I have no reason or whatsoever to be cowed, believing that certain persons have said something about me and not do what I should. So on a serious note, it wasn't my decision for the report to be trashed. The report itself lacks substance. And when any report lacks substance, it has to be thrown into the dustbin, and that's where it belongs.
As we round up this discussion, I'm aware that in the community, during the election, there used to be, you remember vividly, where they used to have, you know, like the St. Teresa's open field. A lot of people will come around for the election. I had one contested for a position, about 100 and about almost going to 300 and something people. I won the person then. So, but part of his allegation was less than 100 people went on a particular secretariat to do the election, and he said that. So, can you also shed light on that? That brought this new administration.
Very quickly. This current administration is as legitimate as every other administration. But what people fail to understand that change is inevitable, and they fail to adapt to the new order. That's exactly what is happening. Let me tell you something. The Constitution says there shall be election. That is it. That's the provision of the Constitution. There shall be what? Election. And the mode of election is to set up IEC. Are you getting my point now? And that was done. IEC was set up, they came up with their template, and the election was conducted. The Constitution does not stipulate that, 30 we have to vote, 10 we have to vote, 5 we have to vote. No, Nigeria is over 200 million population. How many people voted in the last election? So why has that become an issue? It's not an issue at all. The point is that there should be an election. Was there an election? Yes, election took place. Was IEC formed? IEC was formed. So there's no basis for argument that election 3 people vote, 5 people vote. What does the Constitution say? That's the issue. The Constitution is. So even if it is people that voted or 7 people that voted, the point is that there shall be election. And what are the mode of election? IEC will be set up. Candidates will have to pick forms, and all of this were done.
So
you understand? So for anybody to come out and say that there was no election or people did not vote, that shows how the low level of the person's understanding of the operations of the community and democracy in general. Democracy does not mean everybody must come on board. Do you understand? So the number of votes does not matter. What matters is that there was election. Election was duly conducted for all offices.
Okay, I got your point. So what you are saying is, irrespective of the pattern, whether it's generally carried along, you know, no. But as far as is something was done, is done. So you are not interested in the numbers of Nigerians in the Gambia.
No, everybody was duly informed because all the ethnic communities represented were duly informed. IEC was set up 3 to 4 months. Went to sensitization. Everybody was sensitized to come up for the election, and everybody, was invited for the election. So if anybody is saying that there was no information, the election was not conducted the way it should be conducted, it shows that they have certain weakness that they fail to admit. Like I told you, some of these persons have their candidate. Like Toby, if they say there was no election, why was he fielding a candidate? Great Akah Ottuduoma was Toby's candidate who was vying for the same Secretary General that I contested with. So how can somebody now come out now there was no election or there was no procedure and all of that? The procedure for Nigeria community election is as dictated or as detailed in the Constitution, which states that there shall be election, IEC will be set up, candidates will pick their forms, and when they do that, a date of election will be fixed, and every Nigerian is already aware that the election is coming, and that is why candidates pick forms. So all of that, as the group that are saying that there was no election, all of that. Let me tell you something. We are taking community away from beer ballot discussion. We are taking community away from hearsay. We are taking community from the level of understanding that this is how it should be done. No, it should be done administratively. It should be done formally. Let everybody be involved. Everybody should be carried along. Do you understand that? So if everybody wants to remain in the status quo, it becomes the business of that individual. But I can tell you, it's a new order for the community, and the community is going on. There are some quarters who are raising issue that the president just emerged from the moon. No. The president did not, because the Constitution is also clear about by-election. He said, there shall be by-election. Are you getting my point? There shall be by-election. The Constitution doesn't say, by-election for office of treasurer or this alone. No, there shall be by-election. And if the Constitution says there shall be by-election, the mode of the by-election is also defined in the Constitution. And as far as there's government, because for by-election to come, there must have been government in place. No, the constitution empowers the leadership of Nigerian community, I mean the executive, to take decision on behalf of the community. So the executive, came together, looking at the provisions of the constitution with regards to by-election, and by-election was called. Candidates were invited to indicate interest. They indicated interest. A candidate emerged. That was the end of the by-election. And that brought in President Dr. Shima Ochulo as the president of the community today. But in some quarters, he said there was no by-election and all of that.